Alright, in this lesson we're going to take another closer look at formulas, or functions as they're sometimes called. This is a pretty quick, easy lesson, even though the directions look a little bit confusing. So we're going to start off by calculating the average of the score. So this one's set up like a grade book, more or less. So it'd be a great way to calculate your grades, or to see what you'd get if you scored a certain score on a certain assignment, that kind of thing. So we're going to start off by clicking over on the right hand side below the word average, and since we're using formulas, we actually have some shorthands this time. So we have this button on the left hand side that says auto sum. If I select that, there's an average already made for us, so I don't have to type anything, don't have to start with an equal sign, nothing. I can just press average, and Excel will kind of guess what we want to do, and this time it did it correctly, so all I have to do is press enter. Now, to prevent myself from having to repeat that step over and over again, there's this other technique that we haven't used yet that's called the fill handle. So can be a little tricky, so make sure that you're following along closely here. So I'm going to start off by just single tapping, just one click on the average that we just calculated, and it didn't work. So let's see. There you go. If I click and hold, it'll pull up the options, almost like a right click. So I'm going to click and hold on that cell, and it'll pull up the options, and we're going to select the one that says fill. You can see that the circles around my cell changed to boxes, and those are going to be the fill handle. So I'm going to click and drag on the fill handle in the bottom right hand corner of my cell and pull it down all the way through the rest of the spreadsheet like that, and let go. So you're going to see that I do get a couple errors down here at the bottom because we don't have any information for those cells to use yet. But if we look at the rest of them, you can see that it copied that the formula for creating an average and applied it to all of the rows throughout our spreadsheet. All right. So now we're going to move down to the bottom and kind of repeat the same steps. So I'm going to select where it says lowest score, and underneath the auto sum. So again, I'm in the formulas tab. I'm going to click auto sum, and for lowest score we can use minimum. It guesses what we want to do, and it's correct. So I'm going to press enter. And before I use the fill handle to go to the right here this time, I'm going to actually do the rest of these formulas for the median score and the highest score, and then use my fill handle, and I can copy all three of those formulas across the bottom. So median is actually not in auto sum, and it could be underneath one of these other ones, but I always find it easier to just do equal and then take a stab at what I think it might be. So if I start typing in the word median, there it is, it pops up. So I can select it, and then the format that it's looking for is slightly odd, not really what we're trying to do, but it will adjust for it. So I can select the first row and then use the selection handles to drag down and pick the bottom score. That's not really how it wants it to be formatted, but it does work. So when I press enter, it'll give me my median score for that column. And then finally I need the high score, which is underneath auto sum. So let's see if it will select the right cells for us. So I'm going to do auto sum, and this time I'm going to do max score. And you can see that it grabs the low score in the median score. We actually don't want that this time because that wouldn't really apply to the calculations we're really looking for. So I'm just going to click and drag this up a little bit, so I just grab the last actual score for that test. And then I'm going to press enter. Alright, so now I have the formula set up. I'm going to select the first answer that I got for the lowest score and drag down with my selection handle to grab all three of those formulas that we looked at. And this time the selection options came up by themselves, so I don't have to worry about it. I can select fill, and then I can use my fill handle in the bottom right and click and drag that to the right and let go, and it will automatically update all of them. So just like we were looking at formulas before, since all of these are interlinked together, if I edit a number in here, so if I change Kyle's score here to 100, you can see that it should, when I press enter, update the rest of them. And it didn't really do anything at the bottom, but it did change his average. So you can see if you go through here, maybe if I added another one to 100, it might, yep, there you go. So you can see the median score went up a little bit that time. So again, just showing the power of Excel when you do use these formulas in the appropriate way.